I'm going to tie a slightly different version of a pink squirrel. This is a version I like. I call it a black variant. So instead of the natural color squirrel dub for the body, I'm using black squirrel dub for the body. Gives it a little different look, something the fish maybe haven't seen before. This is tied on a size 14 scud hook with a 3/32 gold tungsten bead on it. It's got 4 strands of pearl UV crystal flash in the tail. For the rib, I use some gold brassy wire, and then the black squirrel dub for the body instead of the natural color. For the collar, I like using, I'll zoom out hopefully a little bit here. This is Borden's Hairtron in a pink shrimp color. Really like how this acts and how this looks in the water. So let's tie one. So I've got a size 14 scud hook, heavy scud hook with a 3/32 bead on here. I'm going to use tan thread in a 6/0. So I'll start that right behind the bead, wrap to the bend, nice tight base wrap, come up a little bit. Now I'll come all the way up front. One of the things I do is I like tying front to back instead of from the back of the hook up, and I'll show you why. I'll actually unwind this and go to the back. If I'm gonna try and catch his tail in, like you would traditionally do, you'd kind of come in here and put your tail in, maybe do a pinch loop and catch that in. Oh, I missed. Kind of missed that there. So maybe I'll do a pinch loop, catch that in. Now look what happens with this material. It's kind of out in the air, and so as I'm wrapping, I'm pushing it around. Sometimes it catches, sometimes it doesn't. So material control is real important to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up to the front, and I'm going to catch that in right behind the bead. And now I've caught that in, and now I have material control. Does a couple things for me also. I don't have to trim off any extra that's up front. I've already taken care of that. And then I can position this anywhere I want as I work my way down to the back of the hook. If I want it on the bottom, I can pull it to the bottom, and now I've got it on the bottom. If I want it on, one of the sides, far side, I can work my way down. But from working back to front, I'm taking care of getting that where I want it. A lot of material control will really help. And it doesn't add any more wraps. I see people going, and if you start from the back and you wrap up, and then you go back to the end, you still got your 3 wraps on. A lot of flies, I'll put a base on. Maybe you don't need so much of the tail in. I could have started it here. But then what happens also is I'll end up with a lump right here. And I want a nice smooth body for most of my flies. If I can build the taper up with the dubbing, but I want a smooth body. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this hang here for now. I'll cut it later. I'm going to come back up to the front. I'm going to tie in my gold wire for the rib. So I'm going to catch that in behind the bead again, wrap down. See, so now I'm positioning this. I'm holding this. I want it on the side closest to me. And I don't want it on the top, and I don't want it on the far side. And the reason is, if I show you this now without the dubbing on, it may be easier to see. But I'm going to counter wrap this wire. So my first wrap is going to be around the back side. Okay? If I were to have it on top and go around or on the bottom, my first wrap actually will catch the tail in. See? So by having it on the close side to me, when I counter wrap it, I get my rib right where I want it. Okay? So now I come up just a little bit. Now I'm going to add some dubbing. So I'm going to use some black squirrel dub. Let me zoom out so we can see the dubbing as I do that also. So this is a squirrel dub in a black color. So I'm going to go up a little bit. What I like to do is, either if I can work at it out of the bag, I'm just going to take a little bit at a time. Look at how little that is. And then just press it on the thread and roll it around. And I'm squeezing really tight here. Okay. Now I'll add a little bit more. Same thing. I took just a little bit out of the bag, maybe a little bit more than that first wrap, and I'm going to put that on. Okay. Put on what you feel you can work with. You don't need to make a full long noodle that's going to do the entire fly. I'll do this in segments. So now I can wrap this on and get a nice little tapered body. So now I use that up. I need to add some more. So I'll take a little more out of the package. And this time what I did is I took a bunch out, but I'm going to tease a little bit out with my fingers. So I'll put some on. I'll come in here. I'll just tease a little bit out. It's easier for me to work with it that way. Put a little more on. Sometimes trying to get it out of the package takes a little bit. So if I just pull a clump out, and then when I'm done, I can put that extra clump back in the bag. And now I'm going to come in. Now I want a little bit of a taper, so I'll go back over it and come up. And there should be my body. Okay. So now, same thing. I'm going to go, let's zoom in just a little bit on the rib. Okay. So now I'm going to come around the underneath side. That's not going to trap in my tail and push my tail out of the way. And then I'll do about 5 nice even wraps. 3, 4, 5, and then I'll go twice around the head and then catch that in. Maybe trap it in, couple behind, couple in front. Okay, so there's, hit the camera here. So now to trim that wire out, you can come in and you can helicopter this off. To me, that takes a lot of time. I like a simple toenail clipper, and I can just come in and clip that out. It doesn't harm my scissor. I have a magnet on my vise, so I just keep the toenail clipper right there, and it's really quick. To me, a lot quicker than helicoptering that off. Secure that in. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the pink dubbing. Like I say, I like to just take out a little bit more out of the bag than I need. So I've got a bunch out, but then I'll just take and tease just a little bit out, and then roll that around. I can go out again so you can see what I'm doing. Just that little bit, and roll that around that thread. Okay, I'll do a little bit more. I need a little bit more for this head, so I might have to do two or three little individual segments. Okay, so now I'm going to wrap that around, fill up that thorax area. Want it a little bushier than that, or a little bit fuller, so I'm going to take some more dubbing, just a little bit. Like I say, I'm teasing it. I've got it in my finger here, and I'm just kind of teasing it out here, and then putting a little bit on the thread at one time. I'm not taking this big clump and putting it on the thread. I'm putting little amounts on the thread at a time, and then I can work it, and that really sinks that in. So instead, I could take, if I took one big clump and put it on here, that may fill that void up. But then I only have a couple wraps of thread holding all that dubbing in. By putting on a little bit of dubbing at a time, my dubbing is actually more secure in there from the wraps. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in again. Okay, push that. So what I like to do is take my fingernails and kind of make sure that I'm away from the bead a little bit. I'll take 1 or 2 wraps to finish it off behind the bead, and then whoop, I can take and whip finish behind the bead. Cinch that in. Come in, I pulled too hard and broke my thread, but that's okay. And there's my pink squirrel. I got one more step to do, and that's to trim the tail. So what I like to do is kind of pull that over, trying to get the light to work right for me, and then snip it as long as the collar. So my thread's right there. So that tail now is equal to the length of the body. Okay. So there's my pink squirrel in a black variant. They say it's pink squirrel up here works really well. You know, everybody's doing their own little version of a pink squirrel. I think I saw this color actually from the creator of this. But it's something I like because there's not a lot of people using it and gives it a little different look to the fish. So hope you enjoy it.